The soft sell, inspired by my disgust at the ways that different mega corporations and smaller corporations are trying to market and compete with each other in the platform wars, gaming platforms, music platforms, and TV, video, movie streaming platforms, which are all becoming unified into one platform that is becoming monetizable. So you can have a Facebook page with a shop that's a game streaming page and have your merchandise, and you can monetize ads as an affiliate. You can do the same on YouTube, gaming. You can do it on Twitch TV, twitch.tv, and you can have an e-commerce shop, and so on. And what I'm noticing is, for example, Google, YouTube, every time I go there now, there is one page asking me to sign up, the whole page, for 1 week's free trial, and then I will be charged automatically if I forget to discontinue the trial of ad-free YouTube. YouTube sell our information to advertisers, even if we pay to not see ads during a video on YouTube. Our chosen likes and comments and our behaviors, which are categorized with artificial intelligence that possesses not enough topics, categories, and aspects of a person's personality to really judge them. And like in China's surveillance state with social points system, where you can't get in the metro if you're a litter bug or going to a shopping mall because you've been given black stars on your social point system, we don't have one in the West. But companies and their artificial intelligence algorithms are making judgments about us a lot. For example, in the credit card and loan industry, they look at a statistic that people who keep their telephones on a low charge most of the time are less likely to be worthy of giving a credit card or a loan to, whereas people whose telephones are above 60 to 80% most of the time will get the credit and the credit card or the loan, if that statistic shows, along with various other statistics. Now, ask me how often you charge your phone, how they decide that says whether you are creditworthy or not. Don't ask me. Yeah, you'd have to look at the algorithm and what other things are taken into consideration. But I would say that I know some very rich people whose phones are hardly ever charged. In fact, I know one extremely rich person who needs to change his battery for a mere $50, and I've been telling him to do it for 3 years because it's only $50 and he only gets 2 hours out of his battery instead of the usual 14. And so, yeah, he's rich and he buys lots of things, very expensive things, and he has a credit card, but he doesn't charge his battery and he doesn't change his worn-out battery. So I wouldn't say that's a statistic one should make assumptions about, because no two people are the same. And you have people paying statisticians for these statistics, trying to get to know the customer. I'm getting this pop-up in my face. It's very hard to get out of the interface to your own channel or to the main YouTube page because they've made it difficult. The same as Facebook Messenger app on iPhone will say, give us your number. And the opt-out button is below the bottom of the actual screen of the iPhone. So all you see is add your number and then press enter. But there is actually an opt-out because legally they have to put one if you don't want to give it. Because if you give them your number, they sell it to advertisers, and then you receive call centers and con men calling you because they sell your information. So even if I paid for a YouTube pop-ups in my face every 20 seconds and then asking me if I change tabs and go back to the YouTube tab, there's a pop-up in my face saying sign up for a week trial of ad-free YouTube. because less people are advertising because of the stricter rules of advertising, and less people are monetizing for ads because of the stricter rules of monetizing. And so they're getting desperate, and because they're using Google Stadia gaming, and you can do live streaming from PlayStation or from OBS Studios on your computer, and you can do it to Facebook now. They have a live streaming platform. Because if you have a live streaming channel and a Facebook page and a Facebook profile and a Facebook live streaming channel integrated, then you can have a shop, you can have merchandise, you can make money with affiliate ads that are shown on your video streams, you can make podcasts and create revenue for yourself and for Facebook, of course, or for Google, YouTube, or for Apple. You've got Apple TV Plus, which is the Netflix, and then you have Apple Arcade, which is the gaming platform, and then you have Twitch.tv app on iOS and Android so that you can stream directly your games from your mobile device, and you have Steam on Windows, and you have streaming the broadcasting devices on a Windows device so you can live stream to Facebook or to YouTube. And this is becoming the future, because movies, you'll be able to use HoloLens and enter into a movie and play a role in it like in a role-playing game. And in the end, there'll be no difference between reality and game. You won't be able to tell the difference. The helmet will go away, the headset. It will be holographic projection. And we'll all be making money being ourselves, playing games with each other and selling our merchandise to each other. None of which will be going through the coffers of the IRS or any of the tax agencies of different countries, which is why they are actually falling into decline, as all civilizations do in the end. And so the soft sell, I'm talking about marketing here, is that when you go, if you look at yourself, yeah, let's say you're lonely and you want a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you get desperate and you're desperately running around asking people to dance with you in the disco and I don't know what. The more desperate you look, the less attractive you become to people. So the more pop-ups you put in people's face, every time you do a new search on Google, in Internet Explorer or Edge or Firefox or whatever, you get a pop-up saying, wouldn't you like to change to Chrome? So I've said no 45,000 times and you keep putting this goddamn pop-up in my face. Yeah, you desperate or what? Yeah, but if you just stay cool, not interested, you're just happy on your own, the girls and the boys like you because you don't look desperate. And so if a website like YouTube is desperately, and Apple, every time you open Apple Music app, is trying to get you to sign up for the monthly subscription, a pop-up in your face, hassling you and hassling you and hassling you, is so desperate. The more desperate you look, if you just look at yourself in life, the more desperate somebody seems, the less you want to use them, to be with them. And so the more desperately they are using the corporate concept of advertising with the hard sell, it's actually counterproductive. And using statisticians to try to know what your customers want is because they're aiming at everybody. I know exactly what my customers think and what they want. I know exactly what to buy to sell to them, and I know they will buy it. And I don't use statisticians and I don't collect stats. I don't need them, because what you need is not stats. What you need is intuition. Yeah. Also, I write and aim through my writing to target precisely the kind of customer I want, because that's the customer I understand. I aim for the customer who thinks like this, feels like that, and believes in this. Yeah, and I write in that way, which means I attract customers who I understand, because there are many types of people. And Google and Facebook and Apple, with platform wars, they are aiming at everybody. And like Lincoln said, you can't please all of the people all of the time. And the more desperate you look, like I say, the less likable you become. And so I sell with a soft sell. In Thai language, we say yu chai chai. It means just stay still and quiet. Don't show your desperation. Don't reveal the fact you want to sell this. You don't care if you sell it or not. Yeah, somebody says to me, can you give me a discount on that per email? I say, no, it's in the shop at that price, and I don't have to do discount because I have 3,000 customers, and if you don't buy it, somebody else will. Never mind. Sorry about that. I hope you understand. I have a family to feed. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And do you know what? The less you care about whether they buy it, the more they want to buy it. Yeah? The less available you are, the more they want to get in touch with you. Yeah, the more available you are and the more you send them emails and call them up and ask them if they'd like anything else or something extra. It's like when you're buying a pair of jeans and the salesman's looking over your shoulder, breathing down your neck all the time. If you find a pair of jeans you want to buy, you'll call them when you want them. Just leave me alone so I can browse in peace and listen to my music with my headphones. Stop hassling me. The hard sell and the soft sell. The trick is to not be greedy and aim for all marketplaces because you can't please all the people all the time. And whatever marketing strategy you use, you will not attract every single marketplace or type of person. You won't be able to do it. Not with the same marketing system. You'd have to have 10 Facebooks for 10 kinds of people with 10 kinds of marketing approaches. You can't do that. You'd need 10 domains and then it wouldn't work. I'm sorry. Unless you were Equid, of course, which is a program I use. Very good. It's the best e-commerce solution in the world. And you can insert that into various domains and it's the same control panel. If Facebook knew about that, how to do that, but they're not as innovative as the younger and now older guys at Equid. They were all young guys. Easywid or equid.com. If you're looking for e-commerce online, I would recommend you use that software. It's the best in the world. It's the most versatile software for e-commerce you will ever encounter. And it's so innovative. It was created more than 10 years ago now. And it beat the YouTube video embed widget. It's called Equid because it's an e-commerce widget, which means you're not stuck to one domain. Anyway, pop-ups in your face, the hard sell, desperation turns you off. Aiming for the market you know you can sell to and the people you know you can please and who won't bring you headaches, and not being too greedy, you will grow enough. There's enough population in the world and there's enough cake for everybody if we're not too greedy that we can all be rich and affluent and live good lives and be successful and specialize and focus on what we do best and stop trying to catch all the fish in the sea and go for the soft sell instead of the hard sell, because the soft sell is like the guy sat not interested while all the other guys are running around begging girls to dance with them. And they think, well, that guy, something different about him. He's interesting. I think I'm going to go talk to him. And that's called the soft sell. And that's how I sell. And the less interested I am, or the less desperate I am to sell my things, the more people want to buy them from me. And that's my secret. And that's how I recommend, is to be ethical, soft sell, don't use pop-ups, don't put a 30-second delay newsletter sign-up pop-up. We all hate them. We're told if you use it, you'll get results, so we pay a monthly subscription and install it into our websites. But when we go to other websites, you go to the Daily Mail or you go to CNN and all of a sudden you scroll down and the video that was auto-playing follows you down. You have to switch it off. You didn't want to listen to it. You're trying to watch the other video further down the page. It's just like 1998, all JavaScript pop-ups and Trojan horses. I mean, the data collection that's when you log in and start behaving within YouTube and Google or Facebook or Apple, using the devices, the data they are collecting and reselling, that was Trojan horses and viruses and people stealing email addresses and selling email addresses. Hackers, it was illegal. You went to prison for that when I first began webmastering in the late 90s. And now every company does it, and it's considered corporate ethic, completely ethical in the corporate world, and even in internet law, which I hope changes very soon, because it's a complete abuse of privacy, and people making money out of your personal data, they should pay you for it. And I don't give my personal data I don't agree to any taking of my personal data, which is why I'm deleting most of my apps and using only the ones I really need to. Like this one, Voice Recorder Pro, which is excellent using just my iPhone. It's better than any of those $1,000 microphones you buy that hang over the camera when you're doing your YouTube channel. Anyway, the soft sell and the hard sell. The hard sell is horrible, it's unethical, it's a pain in the ass, but you will push shy people or gullible people into buying things, which is evil. Who wants to get rich like that? And who wants to work for a company with ethics like that? And who wants to even develop company ethics like that? And have the people who have allowed these corporate ethics to become like that ever thought about it? That actually, knowing your customer, you need intuition, not statistics, because it has been proved that statistics are falsely judging people because the algorithms are not containing all necessary topics to cover all the facets of human personality. We're a long way from that, but we're being judged by credit companies, we're being judged by political organizations. All of these great companies such as Facebook and Google and Apple and Microsoft, who I forgot to mention, who are also guilty of this, they're all members of a group called PRISM, who share information with each other, not just third parties for advertisers, but also government institutions such as the NSA and the IRS. And so all of your behavior, they're not just looking at what kind of movies you like to watch. They're looking at what your political and religious interests are, what kind of things make you angry, what kind of things make you sad, what kind of things make you react. If you react to something that disturbs you on Facebook, you comment, they'll say, oh, that gets a comment from you. More comments on a post brings more ads because there's more viewers. We can show more comments, so people will want to pay a higher price to advertise on that particular post in Facebook, and so they'll find more disturbing content for you. And when you arrive on the Facebook newsfeed, all you'll see is more disturbing content because it will make you comment because it disturbs you. And in the end, they will actually turn you into a mentally disturbed person because the algorithm is showing you things it thinks you like or it assumes you like because you reacted. It doesn't know you reacted because you were disturbed, and that if it shows you more of that stuff, so you thumbs down and react to it, maybe it knows. I don't know. I didn't write the Facebook algorithm. I would hope so, but I actually know it's not true because I have deliberately reacted to negative posts and been shown more of them by giving them thumbs down to test the algorithm. That if I thumbs down it, so I didn't write the algorithm, I don't know if they put it in, but if they did, it doesn't work. Because if I thumbs down a disturbing video or a disturbing post, and in YouTube, and I comment on it, how disturbing it is, it will show me more of that content. At least YouTube has a button where you say, don't show me any more things like this. They're developing. Google are the fastest developing. Apple, that's a whole podcast. That's about 7 podcasts, in fact, what I have to say about Apple. I was an Apple boy for about 7 years, and right now I'm switching off and getting rid of all of my Apple-related devices because they're going completely the wrong way. They got it wrong since since iOS 8, iOS 7 and Mavericks. And so anyway, short sell, the soft sell and the hard sell. I find the world is now orientated on the hard sell, and I think everybody's got it wrong, and people relying on statisticians are just being fooled by a new profession called statisticians and risk management, corporate or political risk management, consultancy, and they're showing you stats, You can use maths to make black into white if you want. You can use a graph to deceive. I've already proved that in previous podcasts. And I'll make more to show that how stats can deceive, because it's something that really bothers me and something I'd like the world to understand, especially the corporate people who are paying tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars to statistician companies who are giving them stats, making them think these are the results, when actually they're just selling hot air, because there's no intuition in the algorithm. I know when I put this amulet, I sell amulets, into my shop, or I write this ebook on this topic, it's going to sell forever. I know, because I know there are people who look at my website who think like that, and like me, believe in that, and who are aficionados and love the thing. I write about the things I love, so I write with love, and I aim at those people. I don't aim at the people who won't like what I sell or the way I sell or the way I write. And so, how can I not know the heart and the mind of my customer? Because I write aiming particularly for customers who think and feel this particular way. And that's the kind of customer I get. So what do I need statistics for? I've never paid for statistics in my life. And those who know me, especially the Equid team, who I'd laud them again for being the best small team who made it's not the biggest, but it is the best e-commerce solution in the world. And it's some of the best programming I've ever seen from genius programmers, especially the early birds who started it off, Dimitri, and Matt, who like to take my hat off to them, developer and management. They made the whole thing, and now they have a team that is so, the left hand knows what the right hand's doing. They're not so compartmentalized and fragmentized like Google and Apple, who are scared that this department worker will know a secret of the other department, so they don't talk to each other. But at Equid, they talk to each other. And if you write them an email or chat with them, they're not hard to contact. They're straight in touch with you and chatting with you and listen to you, even if you're angry. They're so patient. I think they are a good example. Sometimes they have a hard sell, but that's not their fault. They have affiliates, and I write to them about that, and they listen. They have talks about their corporate ethics. It's the only company I know who do. But I think it's time that the Senate and the governments of all the world where these companies are, Singapore as well, because in Ireland as well, because of Apple, Singapore, they're using Singapore a lot to evade tax and to hide money and launder money, which is, and I believe, I'm not alleging that, I'm saying I believe that, and I will intend to show information about that and see if that's true or not. But anyway, Facebook never pays a single penny of tax, because the Facebook Ireland performs a service for Facebook in America, in California, in Cupertino, that actually the bill every year is exactly how much profit Apple made in America. So they never have to pay a penny tax, because they never make a penny profit on the books, although they make billions of dollars every year and reinvest it in new stuff. Whatever happened to the Apple car? How many billions did they invest in that? Just disappeared. Google Glasses, what happened to those? Jesus. Well, we paid for it somehow. Somebody did. but it never got used and it never got made. So can you all stop putting pop-ups in our faces? You don't like it, so why are you doing it to us? Google, Facebook, Apple Music. Netflix don't do it. And do you know what? Apple, Google, Facebook, you're all trying to do YouTube TV, Apple Plus TV. Does it be Facebook movies, Apple movies, Google movies? You'll never beat Netflix. And I don't know why so many use Amazon in America, because in the rest of the world we all believe Amazon is shit. Because it's twice the price of Netflix and it's got about 1/10 of the content. Plus Jim Bezos, and Amazon is also a member of prison, and Jim Bezos is a member of the CIA, and all his data on Amazon is shared. I don't even want to support the guy. Hope he drops dead, Jesus. Soon, quickly, along with Donald Trump. And the owner of Facebook, that would be good. Fucking die in a helicopter crash or something, Jesus. That would be good. Facebook wouldn't disappear, but then it wouldn't have a little kid behind it who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing and how he's affecting the world and the minds and the mental health of the people of the world. Anyway, stop hard selling. That's how idiots sell and criminals and unethical people sell. You don't need to ram it up our noses. I don't do it. I sell very, very well by not doing that. And if I did that, I wouldn't sell very well, because all of my competitors do precisely that. And all of my customers tell me they really admire my way because I'm the only guy who doesn't do that. All the rest of them are either crawling up their asses or ramming email newsletters at them and telling them lies, like over-exaggerating about the products they sell and stuff, or making false claims and God knows what. Whereas I just say, they say, is it powerful? Which amulet is the best for me? My competitors will find an expensive one or one that they have a high profit margin on and recommend that. They're not thinking about what's best for them. They're thinking about what they make most profit on. The worst thing you can ask a salesman, unless it's me, is, can you recommend me what to buy? Oh shit, well, I'll find the thing that I make the most profit on and recommend that to you. But if they ask me that, do you know what I say? I say, I'm sorry, I can't recommend you. That's like you telling me which pair of jeans I should wear. That's my decision. So I've written everything up and given all the information I can. It's for you to see which one appeals to you and choose the one that you like, not the one I tell you. And they always write back and say, wow, what an honest answer. I never expected that. Never thought about it, but now that you say it, it makes sense. You're making me realize that the other people were conning me. And that's called the soft sell. It's called being honest, sitting still. If they want it, they'll buy it. You don't have to ram it down their throats. And in fact, the more they will buy it. Just make sure they know you're there. Just make sure they know you're there. I didn't even advertise. Just make sure I get first page on Google. So if you're an e-commerce solution, for example, or a social network, well, let's say an e-commerce solution, because it's something I know quite a bit about. And some of the people listening are in that business. So what you could do is not stick pop-ups in their face to add extra services on every different page refresh, because it really gets up your nose. Or stuff like, one thing I did complain about on one product I use is that on the control panel, it wasn't just the domain of the product I was using. They had adverts and banners for add-ons and extra services within their product from their marketplace, which were other domains. And so the browser I use, which is the Tor browser, it's a relatively safe browser if you set it up right. Yeah. was invented by, I believe, the FBI or the CIA and released to the public as free open source. And it's now an open source project, the Tor project, T-O-R, recommended. And so I edit my products in my e-commerce solutions like that. And the control panel, I have to switch them off so I don't see them because they're a security... even a Facebook share button on a website, even if you don't have a Facebook account and you go onto to any website, a newspaper website or whatever, yeah? techreview.com or PC Mag or whatever, Facebook is already scraping information about you. Even though you don't have a Facebook account, it might be seeing if you have friends who have Facebook accounts and stuff. It's incredible how deep it goes. So you can't even not have a Facebook or a Google account because you go to a website that has a share button and Google and Facebook are already collecting data about you. Apart from getting pop-ups in your face, you haven't even read halfway through the first paragraph and you've got a grayed out page with a very hardly visible close this window button, deliberately designed for most people to not see it so that they click on the sign up call to action instead, which is very tricky and very deliberately tricky. That all these close buttons are deliberately hidden. It's unethical. And so where is humanity going with that? Is that the future of the internet and how we are going to condition each other to accept this as okay practice? Because, you know, we all have a mum and a dad and we're a little baby and grew up innocently and unfortunately had to find out that the world, not money makes the world go around, power makes the world go around, and now lies make the world go around. Hot air, bullshit, yeah, and high pressure hassle. This is not the way that humanity is supposed to evolve socially. That's not social networking and the power of the internet and the freedom that the internet brings us and the knowledge that it brings us. That's just all false information and trickery. Anyway, I'm a guy who stays at home and every 2 or 3 days I go on my computer, write something, and I'm on $10,000 to $20,000 a month without shoving pop-ups up anybody's nose, which is probably more than half the people that are sat with a master's degree programming along, yeah, for a company, yeah, for a software company or something, yeah. $20,000 a month for working, let's say, 10 hours a week is not bad. And that's without hard sell. That's the soft sell. So that was my podcast on how the world is evolving. So there's social anthropology and Internet of Things, the internet current affairs. And I suppose you could call that a kind of risk management consultancy in the sense of how to market oneself. The risks one takes in the approaches one uses to market oneself and copycatting all this newsletter pop-ups and add-ons and having a marketplace instead of having less features and relying on oneself. I don't have any share buttons or other domains inserted into my website, which is HTTPS, secure sockets. And we all know that's not really secure, but anyway, we don't get the padlock on my browser if I have a Facebook share button because it detects that there are third-party websites incepting my website. So who wants that, right? And even my e-commerce solution, I had to remove the share buttons that they had built in every product page because that was causing the padlock to disappear and the browser to warn that this website is not secure. So that's another reason, you know. You never make a company with somebody else because it always goes wrong. It's always best to do your own thing I've always believed that. I've watched and seen so many companies meaning like two guys get together, yeah, not a mega corporation. That works. It has its due process and nobody knows each other and it's impersonal. But when two guys do a business together, two friends, they end up falling out. So the best thing is to do it on your own. And that means that if you have, let's say, well, I'll use e-commerce again, because it's the one I can use best to explain, that if I have an e-commerce solution such as Magento or Ecwid or what's those other ones, the really expensive ones who are the best known ones but actually the biggest thieves, BigCommerce and Shopify, don't go near those. You just use Ecwid if you want fully featured. If you want free, you use WooCommerce and WordPress, but you have to be very good at webmastering and fine details. If not, it's going to be too complicated for you. Whereas Ecwid or EasyWid, e-commerce widget, is, even a dummy can do it, but an advanced user can make full use of its features. So it's usable for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. It's very intuitive. So, but what I would say is that the only one complaint I have really about my favorite and the world's best e-commerce solution is that they use third-party apps because they think you have to have lots of features and add-ons available like Apple App Store, which is not right because I actually don't use any of them. And I think as an individual, not a company customer of them, I'm probably one of the best sellers as a single individual, just doing his own website and his own online shop. And they've already said that to me, that, yeah, I sell very well. They've noticed that I do very well, yeah, and that's quite inspiring to see, oh, well, he has a different unorthodox method, but it works for him. Because they know the usual methods that everybody knows and has been conditioned to believe in. And nobody has been told other methods, which are free, like I'm doing now, because most of the methods you'll read about are actually paid blogs. Like, make an Instagram account will help you to increase your traffic and get more customers. Rubbish. It won't, because they won't let you put a link in there to your website so people can click on it. All it will do is give them content of the pictures you post so that they can put ads on it and offer you to pay so that you can put ads, even though you're giving them free content. And Pinterest is the same. They robbed all of my first page results on Google because I shared every picture of every product I wrote. So I deleted it all, and after 3 months, finally, my pages began to come back into Google on my web pages. So people went straight to the product instead of going to a picture of it on Pinterest and not realizing that if you click on the picture, it might take you to the product on my website, which it does. But that's 2 or 3 clicks. And we all know that more than 2 clicks, the third click starts to get boring. If you're going to a checkout page or going anywhere or any kind of process on the web, if people have to keep clicking through and writing something to click to the next stage, they're just going to give up and not finish. So you have to make it easy. 1-click payment, 2-click payment, but not a 6-click payment. And so one has to, I believe, change the way we approach how we attain success on the internet, our corporate ethics, our business ethics, our marketing methods and approaches, and the way we think statistics do or don't interpret accurately how we should approach trying to get better results with our business and our customers. Because I believe the only people profiting from statistics in the moment is the people who are selling them, not the people who are buying them. And so, as well as advertisers, it's the people who are selling the advertising who are profiting and benefiting much more than the people who are paying for advertising, which doesn't actually bring much at all, except in certain cases, which with my e-commerce solution, I would say take the third-party app inserts out of the control panel and make it secure that you don't have any other domains connected in there, which is hard because you've got Amazon AWS. I've seen some Google fonts that are not accepted. I've seen some certain Google JavaScript inserted scripts from libraries within the Ecwid and other platforms, within the control panel and within the actual script of the store widget that has the odd snippet of a JavaScript file from Google inserted from, what do you call that, Tag Manager, the Tag Manager, Google Tag Manager, that is causing red flags and causing scripts to fail and stuff, and causing warnings and insecurities, what would you call, vulnerabilities in the website and in the software. And so everybody's using cross-platform, communicate with each other, APIs and stuff, and encryption, of course. But I believe this is actually, you have to be very selective with who you partner with, because as soon as you do it, you are basically doing Entrust. It's called Entrust. And by doing that Entrust with them, you are basically saying you trust them with everything, all the information they're taking from you, absolutely everything. But you don't know what they're going to do with it, which is a blind thing to do, a very blind thing to do. Very, very blind. It's like giving them intel. It's like letting a Russian go into the Pentagon and walk around freely with a key. Basically, giving them your data so that they can analyze it for you. That's absolutely one of the most foolish things that corporations do. CEOs don't understand it. The board of directors who sit and listen to the statistician or the person suggesting whatever it is they're selling it to them with their slideshow or their PowerPoint or keynote or whatever presentation, they don't understand. They don't understand IT, most of them. They don't understand the peripheral issues and the implications and the permutations. Yeah, like Donald Trump, he's not a bacteriologist or a pandemic specialist. He's a property salesman, for God's sake, and a builder. How the heck is he going to help the economy? He's not an economist. I'm not either, but I'm trained autodidactically trained to be fluent in 6 languages, including 2 dead languages, which are thousands of years old, and in astrophysics and in quantum mechanics and in anthropology, social anthropology, evolutionary anthropology, cultural evolution, paleontology, genetic evolution, genetics itself, neurology, psychology, of course the great classics and the philosophy of Plato, Socrates, and so on, the Greek philosophers, the rise of civilization, ancient history, the change from being hunter-gatherers, foragers, into staying in one place and becoming farmers and discovering. I've studied so many things. Donald Trump and these guys and the board of governors of a IT company, they don't understand shit. Judges don't either. I've seen faked evidence done with Photoshop presented in a photocopy as evidence in a courtroom, and the judge just looked at it and accepted it. I said, you're stupid. That can be done using screenshots in an iPhone, in iMessage, and then put it in Photoshop on a laptop, and in 10 minutes do it. And I made a video of it to explain, which my lawyer didn't. I said, show that to the judge to show that you can't accept such kinds of evidence ever again in the courts in the future because it's so easily faked. Instead, my lawyer, being the bastard he is, didn't obey my instructions and actually put it in as evidence. And I ended up getting accused of submitting fake evidence. But it was actually an example to show that the other person had submitted fake evidence. Yeah, so, who knows, yeah? So, everybody's doing the hard sell. Why am I talking about that? Digressing? Because doing this hard sell has been taught to CEOs, the board of governors, who've told the people to do it, and the advertisers and the statisticians have brainwashed the companies into believing this is the proper practice and the proper way to do it. And paying macro bloggers and micro bloggers, macro influencers and micro influencers to say, join Instagram and Facebook because it will help your business. So they do and believe it. Actually, it doesn't. It makes you add content to their website that they can advertise with instead of adding it to your own. Because the best place to add content to is to your own blog and your own website, which gets Google results and people coming to visit you instead of going to Facebook. But everybody believed the lie. So there you go. Food for thought on the soft sell, the hard sell, and believing that these services that are supposed to help you market, should you believe it? Or are you being hard sold with some hot air? Because that's a hard sell with the statisticians and the advertisers and the marketeers who stand and tell the CEO and the board of governors at the table with their graph sheet that it's like this, that, and the other. But it isn't, because I do just as well by not having to bother anybody and stick pop-ups up people's noses and try to convince them into eternal subscription services. For me, it's one-time payment. I don't want to enslave them to an eternal subscription, and people would get sick of that. The age of subscriptions is going to die, just as the age of apps is dying. Because, well, with something the size of an iPad that has Windows 10 on it, a mouse, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a Core i7 9th generation or a Core i9, yeah, what's the point in having a mobile? Yeah, telephony, that's the only thing. An Android device and a Chromebook, you can make a phone call on it. You can't with an Apple iPad because they're a bunch of, yeah, because they think, also wrong, that if they put telephony, meaning that the iPad has a phone in it like the iPhone, that people would buy less iPhones. That's not true. I wouldn't buy an iPhone. I would just have the iPad and use it as my phone, because my iPad, I take it with me, my tablet, I take it with me everywhere. Everywhere. And so I don't need two devices. But most people don't take their tablet with them everywhere because it's too big. They want to be mobile. So they would still buy a phone. But by putting telephony into the iPad, what Apple don't realize is that the money they are making by not doing it and forcing people to buy an iPhone and an iPad, but some people just buy the iPhone and no iPad because tablets aren't selling very well these days, that, apart from Android ones which have a phone in them, that they're making a lot of money by forcing the purchase of iPad and iPhone to those people who want both. But the money they're making is not the same amount as they would make that if they put a telephone into the iPad. They would steal half the business from all of the Android devices like Samsung and all of the other companies. Because one benefit of an Android tablet is that you can use it as a telephone. And so if the Apple iPad did that, they would be stealing a very large part of that marketplace, which adds up to much more money than the money they make by forcing those customers who have both iPhone and iPad. It's not the same amount of money. You look at the takings and the profits from iPad sales and iPhone sales and compare it. Write an algorithm to calculate, or just do the math on paper. It's easy enough. Yeah. To how much of the marketplace of tablets in Android of all devices, yeah, and how much of them use it for telephony. And use those numbers to see how much profit Apple would make if they had telephony in iPads and took part of that marketplace, compared to how much they make by not doing it and forcing people to have both iPhone and iPad. Has anybody done that kind of stats? Because you don't need to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a statistician company to do that. You just need to look up the facts on Wikipedia or something of their yearly statements and then do the math on a piece of paper yourself. Probably take you about 10 minutes. You don't need an algorithm. And you can figure out and tell Tim Cook, you're being stupid, just put a telephone in the iPad and the iPad will sell like hell, man. Put a touch screen on the MacBook, yeah, and make it 360, and you've just stolen from all the HP and, Lenovo yoga marketplace. But they won't do it because they think if we put a touch screen on the MacBook, we won't sell any iPads. Yeah, that makes more money. But it won't make as much money as you'll make by stealing customers from the Microsoft Surface Pro marketplace, the Chromebook marketplace, all of the touchscreen windows like the Lenovo Yoga marketplace, and so on. That's much more money. And they don't even have the brains to tap into that. They'd rather stuff a pop-up up your nose trying to get you to subscribe forever to Apple Music. Why should I do that? I can buy it in Apple, the ones I want to listen to. Or I can listen to the radio or Spotify for free and put up with the ads. Or I can find all the songs I want on YouTube and use 4K video downloader or MacX YouTube downloader or any of thousands of other free apps, yeah, to download the video, and there'll be no ads on the YouTube video or the music. So I can download YouTube videos, I can convert them to MP3 if I want, or leave them as music videos with no ads on them once it's downloaded to your computer, and it's free. So why should I pay for a subscription? Why should I do that? Why does the Pirate Bay exist? Because corporations are greedy. They're asking too much. Half the world is poor. You know how many percentage of the world lives on less than $2 a day? Can't remember, but it's something like 40% of the world or something or more, I don't know. Yeah? There's like 10 or 20% of the world that live like most of me and most of you who are listening, live well and can pay our bills and have our own place to live and so on, yeah? The rest of the world, yeah, the wealth is divided in 1% has about 90% of the wealth of the world belongs to 1% of the population. And the rest is distributed between the middle class, and then you have billions of people who are living on less than $2 a day. So they're not in the marketplace anyway. So there's a lot of things to talk about, I'm all over the place today, so, I could take each one of the things I've spoken about and make a consultancy lecture about it. Risk management, yeah, or marketing consultation, or social engineering. I call it social engineering, which is more of a hacker term, because you use social engineering to get passwords or to get knowledge so that you can hack somebody more easily, which has nothing to do with writing code. It just means being a sly bugger. Yeah? So there you go. Soft sell, be nice to people, be ethical, don't hassle people, treat others as you would do unto yourself. Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. So, do you like having pop-ups and newsletter sign-ups when you're trying to read an article? Stopping you and interrupting you? Of course you don't. Do you like receiving all of these marketing emails just because you visited the website and never signed up and have to unsubscribe after you've had 50 of them and they're ringing your inbox? You think, I've had enough now, let's unsubscribe from this. How the hell did it start in the first place? Disgusting. You go on a website, it's like, this website is asking to give notifications. Block or allow. And the allow is always illuminated, yeah? They've swapped the buttons now from no and yes, yeah? It used to be left for this and for yes and no. It used to be left for one and right for the other. Now it's right for that one and left for the other, because people are used to pressing on that one for yes and that one for no. So they swap the buttons around so that people accidentally press yes, I do want the newsletter. which is con man shit. It really is. And people aren't that stupid anymore. So I would say to the whole world and to the to the corporations, I would say kick the statisticians, boot them up to the moon until their algorithm is perfect enough and their deep learning is perfect enough to interpret something as complex as the human personality and psyche, because through human behavior is impossible. Not even a psychologist can do it, never mind an artificial intelligence algorithm, for God's sake. We are too abstract. Our past, our childhoods, our secrets, what we do on the internet isn't what we're really like either. We don't do everything what's in our heads and our hearts. So there you go. Some people do. They're not careful. The people who understand the internet a bit are careful. So the internet will never really get to know how we really are. And just stop the hard sell. Try the soft sell. That's my advice. And see how it gives the way to long-term success with a customer base of trustworthy, good-hearted, honest customers who always pay and never complain and never send things back and always are happy to be friendly and be repeat customers, because that is my experience from just sitting back and letting them choose for themselves and be honest with them, and don't hassle them by emailing them newsletters reminding them that they've left their shopping basket, which I get. I use my shopping basket as a place to keep things I want to find later and look at and maybe or maybe not buy. It's like my wish list, but it's not something I want to be reminded about. I leave it there and I'll go back when I want to look at it. So they think I've forgotten my shopping basket. No, they know I haven't forgotten it. They just want to make me buy something that I decided not to buy. They're like, come on, fuck off, guys, fuck off. Fuck off. Yeah? That's not the way to market. That's the way to make yourself look like a shithead. And these companies that do that, the more they do it, the more desperate they seem and the less desirable they become. So who will win the platform wars between Stadia, Steam, Twitch TV, Apple Arcade, Facebook Gaming? Who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? Well, I'll leave that for another day. I know who. But do you guys and girls? Well, see you next time and we'll talk about that. John Spencer for my Webmaster channel, signing off.